Yo, we're live, we're live, we're live.
Yo, let me put a
Yeah,
story
what's up, what's up? Yeah, do
on
that, do
my.
that.
You can pause.
We got like
Lol.
one viewer right now, so rep to him, whoever this Samartian is, whoever this guy is. Oh, two viewers now. It's
Nice.
increasing.
I'm. This is
So
the
what's up?
first
What's
time
up?
I'm ever doing anything live. I mean, I used to stream before,
Mm.
but I've never done like a live podcast. So if I say something that's pisses anyone off, then stop watching.
Yeah, stop watching. Just stop watching.
What do
And
you think,
also,
bro? You really think they're going to ban social media? I wanna
yeah,
like it
I
doesn't
honestly,
makes any
I
sense to
mean,
me.
don't you think this is a very cyclic issue in India? ये मतलब हर 2-3 साल 3-4 साल में होते रहता है, somebody's trying to ban something, and
True.
I don't know, this time it looks like it's getting a lot of traction. So do you know about it? मेरे को तो कुछ नहीं पता. I honestly didn't
So the
read into it as
government
much.
asked the platforms to make some changes to their laws. They asked for some changes to be implemented, and they had been given time, and that time gets over today or last night.
Ooh,
So and
okay,
the
okay.
platforms didn't make any changes in this time. So everyone was like, fuck, everything's gonna go down. They're going to shut everything. But then in my head, I'm like, if they like shut social media, like doesn't most of their campaigning happen
We've
on
got a
social
special
media?
comment.
Smoke
I
a
don't
J
think
if you see this
the
person.
person knows we're doing this in India. I don't think Shashank knows.
I don't think it's a problem, bro. I feel like there's no, if you like smoke up on YouTube, there's no way they know it's what you're smoking, right? It looks like it could be a rolled,
Looks like Tobe. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So there's
This is
no way anyone can know.
this This actually reminds me of a story in Pune. This was the last time we were so we come to Pune for like 2-3 days. Okay, means this
Yeah.
is we were just. I think we hung out at Swig. Do you happen to know who Guntas is? Guntas Kaur. She at Yuriska. She
Uh,
reps a lot at Yuriska.
I
So
may have seen her. I'm not sure.
yeah, you probably would have, yeah, because
Yeah.
it's difficult to get like stags in, right? Like you'd know
True.
about this.
Yeah.
It's so she's always been the person for us, who tries to get us in and shit. so so we were at Swig and we decided to smoke a doobie.
At Swig.
People are gonna be watching this, but doobie could be anything, guys. But anyway, so we not at Swig. So we like the four of us, we decided to go to a Swig में देख ना KP में there are so many of these alleys, यहाँ पे तू
Yeah.
जाके you can like go inside. So we went to this
And
into this building and yeah. So this guy building का आदमी था. He's like तुम लोग क्या कर रहे हो यहाँ पे? He stopped us and all that shit happened. We decided to go somewhere else. It's a long story. It's a very long story. And if I skip to the best bit, these two cops came out of nowhere, man. They fucking
oh
came out of
fuck.
nowhere, and yeah, and suddenly we just gotten done with the J, and we had foresight to light a cig immediately. Like
Yeah.
how you keep building awareness, and you're like next time cigarette light karenge.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that happened. That happened. And then, yeah, I mean, it was a master stroke by the guy who held the J last. He happened to not throw it because that's a noob mistake, guys. Don't throw the doobie, don't throw the butt. He kept
Because
it
they
with
can
him,
find.
and the cop actually went गाड़ी के पीछे to check किधर है, and he didn't get कुछ नहीं मिला. So it was a great escape, man. I still look back and I I smile.
I've
Ooh,
fortunately I've never had a experience with cops. Touch wood.
ooh,
I
not
don't
really.
even want. Never like with substances at least. Like traffic police, yeah, they've caught me a bunch of times. I
Hmm.
don't have a license, and
Doing what though? Acha.
no, I
Don't have a
just
license.
sometimes like there have been times where I've like broken the signal unknowingly, and then there's a cop
Yeah.
waiting behind the corner and they stop me. So what happens is they stop me and then they look at me and they start from like 1500 naturally. Like they're like, you don't
Naturally.
have they're like,
Yeah.
you don't have a license, you weren't wearing a helmet, you broke the signal, like, and you tried to dodge me. So like I'm going to charge you as much as I can. So then I'm like, bro, I don't have money. And then what they do is they take the key and they go and they're like, fuck this guy, like let him wait. And then what you do is you have to behave like you have nothing to do in the world. Like you have all the time in the world and you're
Yeah,
prepared to sit here
you're
all day.
wasting their time essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. So in that time, what I do is I remove my wallet, I put the money in like in my pocket or in a bag, and then I leave like $100, and then I go to him and be like, bro, this is all I have. So
This is all you have.
you take it. Then I show them that, and then they feel bad for me, bro. This one time, this guy took $50 from me, and he's like, "You're going to college. Keep some money with you." He's like,
When
"तेरे को
was this?
चाय,
When was this? This
तेरे को चाय
was
लगेगा."
this in like first year, second
Yeah,
year?
first
Yeah.
year, I think. He's like, चाय नाश्ता तो करना पड़ेगा आपको. आप रखो आपके पास
How
थोड़ा.
how long was the route for you? Like, was it busy to college?
No, never. If I like left before peak traffic, I'd be there in like 6-7 minutes.
Yeah.
So I mean, I wouldn't know much about traveling to college. I've I've
Yeah.
I've come there like
So
8 times in total.
hardly saw you, man. But then, yeah, yeah. I remember this one time. I think it was in the first year. I think who was that teacher who was apparently who had this Hitler vibe, you know? I think I'm speaking about Samaya. What was her name, dude? Like this teacher who ended up being like she. I don't know if she was fucked off or was she like.
Oh yeah,
Was she like? You remember who I'm talking about? This the short,
yeah,
darker complexion. Yeah.
yeah.
In the
South
comments, guys,
Indian
this
woman.
yeah, Pune folks. Does anybody know her name? Reddy would
Bro,
know.
she
Reddy is
fucking hit me once, bro.
Samaya. Somebody came through. Samaya Pillai. She hit you. What about that, man? How did that happen?
Bro, so I was sitting with Namit. Namit is quite popular for
Of course.
SICSR
Rep
folks.
Namit.
And we were fucking around like we were like I was troubling him, or like I gave him as a one flick on the ear while he was writing something. And she saw it and she's like, "Hey, you're mad or what?" She said this. She's like, "Hey, you're mad or what?" And she like hit me on the back of the head. I looked at her. I was like, "Bro, what the fuck?" And Namit looked at her. He's
Why
like,
would you do
"That was unnecessary. You didn't have to do that." But then
Do that.
in the moment, it was so funny that I couldn't even like stay angry. Like I just started laughing out loud, and she was also like, "Hey, don't do this again." I'm like, man. Then the next week she got fucked off. So I was quite happy.
She actually she had this vibe about her, man, you know, like she was ready to do any student at any given time vibe.
What
And
the fuck?
yeah, dude. And I mean, our college was filled with a bunch of folks, man, like a lot of personalities, a lot of shit happening.
There were
But
there were a lot of good people too, though. Like in this faculty, there were like people who were genuinely helpful. It's fun
who
to
though?
like
Who?
shit on
Who do
everyone,
you
but
remember?
then uh,
Who do you remember?
Anusha ma'am was quite helpful every time I needed anything. Who else? There were a lot. Shiri sir was always very.
Shri sir always, yeah.
He always got
Always.
shit
He
done.
was he was a multi-talented guy, man. Fucker used to teach Python. Then he was suddenly explaining to us highline kya hota hai, backline, where should Hamza stand and all that shit. So this guy was pretty chill. Yeah.
Where should Hamza stand? Hamza shouldn't do bicycle kicks in his own half.
Yeah.
That's
Oh
all
my
he
god,
shouldn't do.
dude. Oh my. See all the juniors in this. I can see Nairen. I can see Nitish Reddy. of course, a lot of other folks are going to be seeing this as well. You guys remember the glorified version of Hamza doing that bicycle kick, but do you guys know this in the it was in the finals, right? I mean,
Yeah.
it was in the finals. Yeah.
Stupid decision.
You Yeah, it was a. Can you speak about this? I mean, because you possibly were like watching it from a third perspective, right? Like what
Yeah,
happened? What happened then?
I was on the bench, and then like we were watching the game, and suddenly like there's this ball that comes in, someone crosses it, and it takes a weird bounce, and Hamza, instead of like just kicking it out, he does this bicycle kick. Super spectacular. I'm not
Out of
gonna take that
nowhere,
away
yeah,
from him. A really
yeah,
good clearance. And then the next thing I know, like it's been a minute and this guy hasn't gotten up.
yeah.
And he gets up, he's holding his wrist, and he walks to the bench. And like his bone, like this bone over here, is like on top of his hand. Like there's something sticking out. Like
Ulnar bone. Yeah,
yeah,
I
like it's
remember
not
the
in
medical
place.
term for that.
It's not in place, and then he's the calmest guy ever. He's like, guys, I think it's broken. I'm sure it's broken. And then
Some
suddenly,
moment.
yeah, and then everyone, the medical team was taking care of him, and like they asked me to warm up quickly because I had to come in. And I think that performance in the final is by far my worst performance ever.
I remember that.
on a
I remember.
I started cramping 30 seconds after coming on. Like
And
this
I mean, you can't blame yourself, right? You can't blame yourself, right? Suddenly to get into such a high intensity match, especially this was the fucking finals of SIU, man. And then suddenly you didn't even warm up properly,
yeah, I
sitting
had
cold
to
for
just
like.
come in. I had to come in. I started cramping, and then everyone's yelling at me, so I'm getting even more tensed.
Yeah,
And
I mean, BT.
I have video footage from that game. It's the funniest shit ever. Like
Can
every
you
2
pull
minutes
that
I'm
up?
on the
Can you pull that up?
it's gonna be tough to
Is
find
it
it, bro.
possible?
It's on a hard disk somewhere. But I wish I had made
Oh,
ready. I don't know.
yeah,
We were gonna talk about it.
yeah. Guys, this is very impromptu. The way this is happening, me and Amin, we did like a dress rehearsal of sorts, yesterday, and we were convinced that we don't need a script. so
We
so
don't, bro. This is
yeah,
fun. Like we're catering to the
yeah.
audience right now because the audience knows exactly what we're talking about.
So the audience wants us to speak about something specific as well. Let me just pull that comment up.
Okay.
It was Reddy who wants us to speak about that. This is about
What is it?
Mahmood. What happened with Mahmood? Reddy says, what happened with Mahmood? Wait, let me.
Who's Mahmood? Oh, Mahmood. I remember.
You don't remember? Do you remember
I
that
remember.
Flames
I
made this
remember.
guy won't get off the pitch? Yeah. So people
Yeah.
probably want to know like what happened, right? I mean, some of the Bombay folks, some of the folks listening over here. I mean, do you remember this? Were you there for this?
I remember now. I remember
Yeah.
Flame properly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
It was a
He
it was a
pulled a
buskill.
he pulled a Kepa
Yeah.
before it was cool.
Kepa pulled a Mahmood. Kepa somehow visualized that shit. So that was BT, dude. Or somebody in the chat being expressive
Who
about
was
Mahmood.
who was supposed to come on for him?
Manasvi, legit Manasvi. No, and see, actually, nobody was supposed to come on for him. It was he wanted to come in, and then he wasn't leaving the field. So
Oh.
that's what happened. Yeah. So, and I mean, if I could go into the details of this story, that was probably like the first tournament where I was, if I could say, stand-in captain. Vishesh called me. People don't know this shit. Vishesh called me. Vishesh, if you're listening this, if you ever listen to this, come clean about this. Vishesh called me about this and ek do hafte pehle maybe, and he's like, Amay, I can't make this tournament. I've got my MBA ke exams coming up. Your cats, all that shit. So I can't make
Pussy.
this tournament. So yeah, I
Leave
mean, it's Chand, man. Yeah, as senior, this happened, and then of course Tanmay had made a very clear point that he had little to no time and resources to perhaps be in the capacity of a captain. So, but he was
Yeah.
always there to advise me. Always, I felt like I had to mention that. Always, like legit. I mean, this guy. Every decision that we made, it went through a screen of Tanmay, perhaps even Vishesh, and but
Fuck Eno,
and
bro.
even he was a good guy though.
I don't have
But
much love for him.
what happened? What happened? What happened? I want to know.
Nothing,
I
yeah.
want to know.
You could finish your story. I'm just saying things to keep it interesting. I
I
mean,
mean, yeah, it was a situation where from the exterior it seemed like it was only a specific person making decisions.
yeah.
So that's probably what majority of the people felt then. So yeah, so this guy won't come off, man. Even Bakshi also. Nairan is making this point over here. Don't forget Bakshi. Yeah, man, Bakshi didn't. And the thing, Nairan, I spoke a heart to heart, bro to bro conversation with Bakshi, and I told him, Bakshi, this was the third game. We'd already lost like two games and drew one. The first match was classic Tanmay pulling off this crazy save, bar save. Tanmay is Tanmay, man. I mean, I need to get him on the pod sometime. But then anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. Coming back to Bakshi didn't come off. It was a mess, guys. The refs were even the officials were looking down upon us, and they were like, "Tum log kuch nahi kar sakte." This specific race, guys. This specific race was known to do shit like this. SIU man. So so yeah. I mean that shit happened, and
Bro, I'm surprised you guys have expectations from someone from Afghanistan. Like that is
why do you say that? Why do you say that?
I'm kidding, yeah. This for Bakshi, I have this very distinct memory. I think this was in the second year where a dog invaded the pitch and Bakshi sprinted
Yeah.
behind him for 3 minutes
Behind the dog.
straight in the middle of the game. He emptied his tank chasing a dog because the game was stopped.
A dog, yeah, yeah. He was that guy, even Maroof. Actually, I have a lot of love for Maroof. I have a lot of love for everybody. People have these conflicting personalities, and it happens when you're playing
Yeah.
possibly a team sport like football, dude. Everybody, the egos are always there. So yeah, I spoke to Bakshi heart to heart, all that shit. I told him, Bakshi, i- unless we win this game 4-1, we're not going through. Okay. And we're losing that game 3-0 at halftime. So this guy, I'm like, Bakshi, please, we discussed about this. Please come. He's like, you go off. You go off. I'm like, Arey, yaar, abhi. So
Bro,
it was a mess, man. Manas had an ankle injury, so he wasn't featuring to his best.
I love it though. I love this whole dynamic we had in the team because there's so much to
It
talk
was
about and
great,
there's so
man.
many stories. We could make a TV show out of that team, like a bunch of brown dudes. Then
Yeah,
suddenly there's two Afghani dudes, and then there's
yeah.
people from fucking Uganda. Like that's the script.
Yo,
That's a script
fucking
for a
the
TV show.
ethnicity was rep, bro. We were
Yeah,
repping so many
we were the
places.
most diverse team
Yeah, yeah.
there was. Ah,
It's
love
rather
it.
sad that we didn't go on to like win the SIU in our time. Like,
Yeah,
so
the first year was our time, bro. That was
yeah, it was our
for us.
time, yeah.
We
Yeah.
did so well.
Yeah, we lost on penalties, guys. Harshiv missed one. Didn't Manas take one? Manas chickened out, right?
No,
Manas chickened out.
Manas didn't
I
take
gave him a
one.
lot of shit. I gave him a lot of shit later, like post game. And your mom was also there, and people were like, "Kya main tu gali wali kyun de raha?" And I was so angry that this guy chickened out. Like, Amin ki mummy, bhai tu kya bol raha hai? Gali kyun de raha hai? Manas dekna, because after the game, after the first, he started taking free kicks after the game and a
Yeah,
lot of confidence. He was celebrating like
yeah.
Ronaldo. I'm like, where was this? Where was this? So Manas, yeah, man, Manas. I hate you for that. But Manas, good guy. Somebody says
Manas
Manas.
has
Yeah.
Manas has vanished. I haven't spoken to him in months. I don't know
Yeah.
what he's up
I
to. Uh,
I got in touch with him like, I don't know, like possibly 2-3 weeks ago. I tried
okay.
to. Manas is somebody who's always given me a lot of routines and shit footballing wise, and he was somebody who was very consistent to actually inculcate stretching into a routine. So anyway, so
Yeah.
Manas is that guy. Yeah.
I tried so hard in those 3 years to spoil him.
Yeah,
to
it didn't happen.
never. In the first year, he was a bit tempted. Like he came out a couple of times and he got
Yeah,
fucking smashed every time. He came out
yeah.
like throwing up everywhere. But then second year, he came and he's like, I mean, I don't want to do all that anymore. Please stop.
Probably got serious for like football and shit.
Yeah, but then he wasn't as fun anymore. He was so much more fun. He'd get drunk and he'd go hit on girls, and then they'd
With his
find him creepy.
Haryanvi accent.
And then they'd find him creepy, and the next day he'd come to college like, bro, I can't believe I said
I'm
that.
sorry. Who were we trying to set up Manas with? Like Nairen, are you listening to this? You guys were trying to set Manas with somebody from your batch, right? Reddy. Who was this
Oh
chick?
yeah,
Can you guys mention this in the comments? Who was this?
Reddy knows all the girls from. Like
Hmm.
if you need to know, bro, this Reddy is a sly.
Reddy's man. Reddy's the man,
He's
man. Yeah,
he's a sly bastard.
he's the
I'll tell
man.
you. This one time I had gone to high, and he's nicely walking in with two girls. Okay, one on each side. I'm not even making this up. And then he comes to me. He's like, "Hi, bro."
Ushesh just came clean, by the way. Came clean about something. Can you? What about Reddy? Oh, Reddy said somebody's name. Pramila. Pramila, he says. Do you remember this chick? I mean, who is
No,
this, bro?
no.
Reddy says, bro, cut lying. I mean, he's just called you out. You have to continue now. Let us know what happened.
He knows what he's done. So now he's just trying to save face.
Yeah. Reddy being
Oh,
Reddy.
what a guy, Reddy.
Yeah.
So now let's talk about something that
Yeah.
isn't so SIU centered, because I'm just imagining
Yeah.
someone who comes
From
in
not
and
from
listens.
SIU.
Yeah, someone who just comes across this podcast and they're like, "What the fuck are these guys
क्या
talking about?"
बात कर रहे हैं लोग? Yeah.
Uh, okay, man, I'm really glad you're doing this though. This whole
You are.
like I'm glad you took the leap and decided, because you've always been someone who's been good at talking. You know, even in college, every time we
Yeah.
spoke, like it's like you had
Yeah.
prepared something to come and say to me. Like it's
Speak
like
about it.
yeah, but that's because you're so, I don't know what the word for it is, coherent or no, I don't know. I'm just
What are
trying to
you trying to
say.
get at though? Like what kind of? But I
I'm
feel
saying
you. I feel you though. I feel you though.
I'm saying I'm glad you started doing this, because
Yeah.
it's a exciting
Space. Yeah.
space, and the more people start doing it, the more there are people creating content. It's better for the others also.
The fuck is this shit? The fuck?
Oh
I mean, you.
man, not just me and Amay, bro. That's
Hmm.
something common. A lot of
Hmm.
people would have that in common.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, but I don't wanna. I didn't come on this
Yeah.
podcast to slut shame.
Speak about it.
I,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Word, buddy, word.
I'm a hardcore feminist. In case,
How would you define feminism? Like your definition of? I'm putting you on the spot right now. I mean,
feminist. I mean, I don't know. I think it's anyone in the right mind would say that men and women should have equal rights. But
yeah,
again, anyone in the right mind will also know that men and women are not the same. Right?
not the same, man.
There's a lot of that. There's a lot that goes into that, and then yeah, I wouldn't call myself a feminist. I don't know. I feel like anyone who's like male feminist, just it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like they
It
just
honestly doesn't make sense. Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
they say these things to, because they know what reaction they'll get.
They're white
And
knights,
usually,
man.
yeah,
Do you
usually
know
when
what
you
this
look at
is?
these
They're white
guys, it's
knights.
like guys
Yeah.
who usually don't get a lot of attention otherwise,
Exactly.
and they know they'll say these things, and then people are going to repost their stories, or they're going to get attention, and that they feed off of that. But then that's not like, if you're trying to be with women, I don't think women go for men like that. Like,
Somebody who's more of a. Are you speaking about? Are you referring to a beta male? Are you referring to somebody who's a people pleaser of sorts?
yeah, I feel like at least like our time is coming. I feel like genetically, like it's in our
You're not chill.
DNA, like in the male DNA or in the female DNA, like it's we are wired to be, you know, taking care of. Like that's in our DNA. Like it's been there forever. And I don't know. So I feel like when it comes to getting into relationships and all of that plays a very big part. And then subconsciously, women will always, the first thing they're looking for is, can this man take care of me, be it financially or like
Yeah.
in whatever way. And then when comes across someone who's not, doesn't seem capable of doing
Yeah.
something like that, then they're like, okay, this guy, he's a good guy to have around, but I don't see myself
Hmm.
with him. It's like that. Okay, guys, so if you want to get women, you have to be disrespectful.
Every now and then, yes.
uh,
I mean, I've honestly got a lot to say about this, but I'm gonna save it for like later pods and shit. Especially
why
a
you're
lot of
scared?
rational male. I wouldn't say
You're
I'm
scared.
scared. I'm just not. I'm just not. I don't have. I'm wary of the backlash I will get regardless of what I say and regardless of substance I have. That's
Okay.
always been the case, right? Whenever you come into this space, speak about something. But I know that I have genuine shit which will come out like right, uh, like shit like let me go off now. Shit like women in essence are complementary to a man's life, man. I mean, and the major focus of a man's life is his ambitions, and you
True.
need somebody who complements that. Now this is something which will receive a lot of backlash in the wrong circles because they want it to be misconstrued, they want it to
Yeah.
be taken out of context. And
Context. Yeah.
exactly. So I don't know if I want to be that guy starting off, but at the same time I do want to be that guy. Like I don't want to be
Yeah.
somebody who I'm not at the same time, authentic as fuck all the time. And that's with you as well, right? Yesterday we spoke about how you always have had this thing about you where maybe you don't really care about the
Mm-hmm.
repercussions, the consequences. Can you speak about that? Was this an inherent quality growing up?
Not really. This is something that I've developed over the past couple of years because for me, most of the stuff that I say is they are jokes. Like I'm saying them to make people laugh, right? I'm not
Yeah,
trying to make a point. I don't think anyone should listen to me for, let's say, if I'm talking about politics, I don't think anyone should take my, like, listen to me and be like, yeah, I'm gonna take this guy's like opinion seriously, you know? So most
yeah,
of the stuff that I say, they come from a place of, I don't know, wanting to make people laugh is a noble thing. Like it's not a, you're not trying
exactly.
to be an asshole. And sometimes the funniest things to say are not right. Like the wrong things. That's the
Facts don't care
comedy.
about feelings, guys.
Yeah, and comedy stems from discomfort and surprise, bro. Like a lot of stuff that make
Mm,
people laugh is because you say something that they don't expect, and it's so absurd that like you can't help but laugh, you know?
yeah,
So a lot of things that you say are probably not, if you say them as facts, you say them as opinions, you say, hey, this is how I feel. Of course,
yeah,
they're not right. But then if you're making a joke, and then also it has to be funny. Like you can't just say
yeah.
mean things and then be like, oh, this is my edgy
Expected to
humor.
be that. This is a
Yeah,
joke,
it
yeah.
has. If you're
Joke tha.
going to say stuff like that, it better be funny. And also,
Yeah. Unless you're
I
you're
don't know
just
if
being an
people
asshole.
know. Yeah, if you're
Yeah,
being an asshole and you're trying to hurt someone,
yeah,
right? That's not going to be funny. But then, like, if you're doing it on stage in front of people who have paid to come and watch you, then they know what
yeah.
they expect. what to expect. They're not, most
Yeah.
times they're not going to be upset. But then the thing is, on the internet, everything can be taken out of context. Right now, I'll say something and someone will take a 5-second clip of what I say, and that's not going to sound good. But then
That's just how it is. Yeah.
if you listen to it in like the if you listen to the whole thing, it probably isn't as bad as people think. And also, there's
Yeah.
one more thing in humor and comedy. It's called, I don't know if people know about this. It's called punching up and punching down. So like if
Can
you
you speak about that? Yeah.
so assume this is like a scale of privilege, okay?
Okay.
And like on top there are CEOs, like you will say Mark Zuckerberg or like Ambani. If I make fun of
Yeah.
them, no one's going to give a shit because they are
Yeah.
up there. This is called punching up. Punching
Hmm.
down is when someone is below you in the scale of privilege. Let's say someone
Hmm.
who's, I don't know, so like homeless people or people from
Hmm.
like a lower caste in India. If you like make jokes on them, then it's punching down, and that
Yeah.
will usually get you into trouble, you know.
Yeah.
So I feel like as long as you're not punching down, you should be fine. You're not going to get anything. Like if you're making jokes on minorities, then it comes across as an asshole thing to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, don't make
that
jokes about minorities, guys. Don't be an asshole, please.
unless it's really funny and you know who you're making it in front of.
Yeah,
Like
you
if you're
and
doing
if you have like a friend or something, like who represents a specific minority, I feel like that's a gray line you can cross every now and then. A lot of gray areas, guys. I mean,
yeah, if they're okay with it,
so
like my friends make a lot of jokes that I can call racist, right? But
yeah,
it's like I don't care, and these are people that I love, right?
yeah,
So like if it comes from them, it's fine. But then if it's someone that I don't know that well, and
mm,
they say something, and you can feel the intent, bro. You can feel if someone is
yeah,
saying something to genuinely like you can roast people out of love, you know, as
yeah,
weird as it sounds. But like if someone's saying
yeah,
something, you know, they're trying to get under your skin, then that like pisses you off.
mm, yeah.
So like if a
What's your
random guy
what's
that I've
your I mean, just
yeah
quickly, what's your Insta though? Like, let me just quickly change the title of the video.
uh
Like you asked me to put like an ID,
change
right?
it, you have to put the YouTube name, so just put Amin Jazz.
Okay, together, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna read the chat till then. I mean, versus reel makers on the internet. I don't have anything against reel makers, bro. Like, reels is a medium of content now, and no matter how much you hate on it, it's always going to be there. And if you can use it,
Yeah.
then great. I just don't think it rewards originality because of the trends. It rewards mediocre content, but that's what grabs attention. And if you can use them well, then great. Have you two idiots ever bumped into each other at high? No, I don't
Not
think so.
really, right?
No.
No, never. See, Amin called me to his nights a lot actually, and he used to, and it got to a point where he stopped messing me. Like ये नहीं आने वाला है, इसको भेजते ही नहीं है. So
I didn't.
so
nahi
so
re,
yeah.
it's. I never
No, this is my
personally
perspective.
messaged.
This is my perspective.
Yeah, I
So
never personally
on
messaged anyone anyway. Like I would
yeah,
just put it on social
yeah.
media and be like I'm not
Somebody's
gonna.
asking what's high. Somebody's
Hi
asking
is
what's high.
hi is this venue in Pune,
Yeah,
famous and infamous at the same time.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, but then man, I fucking miss doing gigs, bro. It's been like it's just been taken
When
away
was the
from me, and
last
there's
time
nothing
you?
I can do.
When was the
The
last time you
last
did something like?
the
Yeah,
last time I played a gig was the day before I caught COVID. So
yeah.
I think that was sometime in Jan or no Feb or sometime then.
Naren
Then
is somebody who's enjoyed you a lot at high, so he would know this.
yeah, Nairan is he's I've spent a lot
But
of time
like,
with him.
can you be more specific? What's a gig over here? Like, what are you referring to?
Oh, these, yeah, we're talking about DJ gigs.
Mm,
And well, I've never really enjoyed saying I'm a DJ. I feel like it comes across like there's no way you can
yeah,
say that and you know sound not douchey. Like
yeah,
there's no way you can put that
yeah,
across. So yeah, but then this whole DJing thing, if you want to get into it, it's the most random thing in the world. Like I think this was back in 2015, where this was like 1 week before New Year's Eve, and you know how it is. Everyone's like, "What are we gonna do? What plans?" And then I was like, you know what, fuck it, we'll throw a party at my house. I'll call all my friends and I'll call a bunch of people.
yeah,
And then I was like, I want this party to be like really like it. I want it to be a party. Usually house parties are you go, someone gets like a JBL Bluetooth speaker, you connect your phone,
yeah,
and then once you change the music, like it stops, right? It stops and then it goes to the next song, and that like completely kills the vibe.
yeah.
So then I was
This
like,
is the guy who I gave the brownie to, by the way. So he's enjoying that shit. Just thought I'd mention. So you decided to go DJ on that shit. Like you decided, nahi,
yeah,
nahi kar
I was
leta
like,
hu.
yeah, I was like, I'll DJ, I'll learn what I can in this 1 week, and I'll do it.
Mm,
And I had this friend who was a DJ at the time, and he had this like small controller. I borrowed it from him. I
yeah,
like downloaded the software. I was like, okay, I'll practice. So I did that,
mm,
and then yeah. So 2 days before the party. So with New Year's parties, when you invite someone, well, usually what happens is they don't respond, they don't RSVP until like the
yeah,
last minute because everyone's waiting to see what other plans are there, and then they choose, you know, whatever best or whatever everyone's going to. So I made this big WhatsApp group. I added like 20, 30 people, and I was like, yo, I'm having this party at my place. Please confirm so that I know how much food to get and stuff.
yeah.
And like literally no one was responding. Like, and I asked a couple of times on 2 3 different days, and like people were like, we'll see, I don't know, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
And to cut to like one night before New Year's Eve, so New Year's Eve, i
Mm,
I left the group, and before leaving the group I was like, listen, the party is on, whoever wants to come, it's open. Even if you want to get your friends, if you want to call other people, come, because I'm assuming no one's coming.
yeah.
In the afternoon, suddenly I'm getting messages, bro, like my phone is blowing up. They're like, we'll be seeing you tonight, we'll be seeing you. Then I'm like, okay, cool. It was bring your own booze anyway, so I didn't have to like make arrangements. And everyone, just people started showing up and they wouldn't stop coming, and I stayed in, my house wasn't that big at the time, bro. I swear to you, there were 70 to 80 people just walking in and out throughout the night. People that I've
Can
never
you give
met
me a
before.
Can
People
you
I've
give me
never met
a
before, bro.
graphical representation of the space to people ratio where you're like kuch anything to make it
There were rooms, so people would go like there were separate parties going on in different rooms. Like there
yeah.
was a party going on in the kitchen. My kitchen had like a tiny storeroom at the back,
Ooh,
and people were there inside that also. Like everyone's just talking, drinking, and
hotboxing, yeah.
I have no clue what's happening. I had some of my friends. I was like, "You take care of this. You take care of that. Make sure no one drinks too much." This is 2015, so we're all like
Mm,
17. And
yeah.
bro, that party went out of control. Like it's the closest thing to Project X. My drawers were
Project
broken.
X.
There was broken glass.
Ooh.
There were like at the end of the night, there were people who I didn't know and they wouldn't leave. There were like these three girls that no one knew. Like literally, no one at the house knew them. We didn't know where they had come from. And it's like 5 in the morning and they haven't left yet. I
Uh,
had to ask them
when
to
did
leave. I
when
was
did like when did like your parents and should come home, like when that
My
happened?
mom was home the entire time. I was like, it's not going to be a lot
Ooh.
of people, so you can chill in your room. And I remember this one time, like at one point during the night, she walks out and I see her from afar. She walks out and she sees what's going on. She's fucking horrified, bro. She just looks at the people and she's like, I'm going to deal with this tomorrow. She just goes back
Mm,
to her room.
yeah.
And yeah, that was
How
my
did she
first
deal
gig.
with it though?
That was my first gig ever. uh, how she dealt with it was the next day she walked out, she saw the the wreckage,
The mess. Yeah.
and two, three of my friends were there who helped me organize. She sent them. One
Mm.
guy had to go buy a mop. One guy had to go buy a fucking tub of Lysol, and then we just
Yeah.
spent the day cleaning the house. There was like puke, fucking. There was this piss stain also, bro, on the wall. Like I don't know, someone I think
Oh.
pissed themselves. It was insane. Yeah, so that happened, and then that was like a really, really fun experience. I was like, fuck, I want to like do this again. Not the party, the house party I never wanted to do again, but like DJing. I was like, man, you could like
That's how it
you get to
started.
yeah, you get to play music, and so many people have a good time because of you. So many people are dancing.
Yeah.
And then what happened was this one time I was at High Spirits, and for people who have been to High Spirits, there's this area upstairs. It's called the smoking room where people go and smoke. And at this point, I hadn't gone there too many times. And yeah, so one of my friends, she was talking to this guy who was the artist manager at High Spirits, and I didn't know
Mm.
that this guy worked there. And me, like a dumbass, I go to him and I remove a dupe, and I'm like, bro, can I spark it here? He's like, bro, you do that, I'm gonna kick you out in the next 30 seconds. I work here. So I hadn't made a good first impression already.
Mm.
And then they're talking, and then I joined the conversation, and then my friend suddenly she's like, oh, this is my friend, he's a DJ, by the way, he's pretty good, you guys should. And I'm just like, and then he's like, oh yeah, what do you play? And then at this point I can't back out. I don't want to sound like a pussy,
Yeah.
so I'm like, yeah, I do this. And then he's like, cool, we'll get in touch. The next day evening I get an email from him. He's like, I've booked you for next Thursday, you're opening for this guy. And at this point I'm shitting my pants, bro. I'm like, what the fuck? Like,
Yeah.
I've only played at 2 house parties in my life, and High Spirits is like one of the, like, people get on waiting
The
lists and all
the
to
good
play
place.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But then I can't back out at this point. I'm like, okay, this is a really good opportunity. So again, I like practiced for another week, and then I went and played. And uh literally all my friends, like everyone I knew in Pune, showed up, and it was just a really good time. And then
It's a
they called
blast.
me
Yeah.
again, and then I got better. But then I never take it seriously, man. Like, I don't know if it's because I don't. The thing with DJing is most popular DJs that they make their own music, and that's why they're well known.
Mm.
And I don't do that. I've never been interested in producing music. Like, it's never been
Yeah.
a. I just enjoy the whole
The vibe. Yeah. Mm.
that
Yeah.
DJing thing. So then that's why I've never marketed myself as a DJ.
As
It's
a
just something
DJ. Yeah. Yeah.
that I do for
Makes
fun,
sense.
and yeah, that's an insight on.
No, something that you mentioned yesterday was you started doing stand up as well. What about that?
So
What
stand
do you
up
feel
is
about that?
that is, bro. That is what I want to do, like, for a living, if
For
I
real?
could. Yeah, like if I can get to a place where that can be my main thing, like
Yeah.
I would love to do that. It's just it's something that I've always wanted to do. Like we've all been watching stand up ever since it blew up in India, like
Yeah.
since
Yeah.
AIB, you know.
Yeah.
And then I've always wanted to do it. Last year, before the lockdown, I had booked like my first open mic slot, and I had written like 5 minutes of material. And then that same weekend they did the lockdown. So like they
Mm.
started the lockdown. So then that never happened. And then once places started opening up again, I went and I attended a lot of shows, and I attended a lot of open mics, which is, if you're someone who wants to do stand up at some point, that's what you should do, because you go to these open mics and you see people eat shit. Like, you see people be so bad. And these are
Yeah.
established comics, like they bomb all the time, you know. Open mic is a place where you go and test your jokes. Even if you're a comic that's doing really well, you have new jokes
You
that you
test
don't
it.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go and you test them, and you
Mm.
do them over and over again until they become perfect. So you go and you watch them fuck up, and then you're like, okay, like, this is not that bad. And yeah, you just go on stage and talk your shit, bro. It's like it's a feeling like no other. Like, it's one of the most difficult art forms, I think, to just stand there and try to make people laugh. Like everyone is looking at you, expecting to be,
To be
expecting you to
amused,
be.
yeah.
It's not like
Yeah.
you're randomly on stage and they don't expect anything, so you say something and it's funny.
Yeah.
They're expecting funny things out of you.
Yeah.
Share some
But
lines,
that's the
bro.
beauty of it, right? I mean, isn't that
Yeah,
the beauty of open mic? Like you can say anything that's funny, and since there's no
yeah,
filter involved, and since they're hearing it for the first time live, even if
yeah,
it's borderline racist, even if it's borderline, they'll
yeah.
still laugh about it. Like we
Yeah,
and yeah,
it is also a very humbling experience, by the way, because once you go
yeah,
on stage and you say something that you think is really funny but no one else finds it funny, like if you can do
yeah,
that, you say a joke and no one laughs, then you can do anything, bro. Like if you know how to deal with
yeah,
that, it just it humbles you. And then
yeah.
yeah, but then that's something that I want to do. That's also the reason behind my podcast. It's like it's kind of like sparring, because I use it as
Mm,
a platform where I can, because a lot of it like right now is on the spot. We don't know what we're going to talk about, and our main thing is to make jokes about everything. Like everything that we're talking about, my first instinct is to make a joke about it, then maybe talk about it. And I've had that s- since forever. Like I don't know, I think I get it from my dad, because he's also one of those dads who's always like trying to make a joke. Most of it is like not funny at all, but
mm,
there are those uncles who are always making jokes, we call them dad jokes.
yeah.
So I think I get it from him
It's,
to some extent. But
in
then
every
also it's
circle we have हर सर्कल में एक बंदा तो रहता ही है जो ऐसे डार्क जोक्स क्रैक करता है, लाइक जो
हाँ,
पूरा टाइम बकचोदी करते रहता है.
हाँ.
Is that
There,
are you that person?
yeah, I do talk a lot of shit. You know that out of
Yeah.
like a lot of the stuff that I say. Like I start a sentence and then I don't know where it's going. and
Mm,
and then I have to figure out something. But humor for me has always been a coping mechanism also. Like it's sounds kind of sad, but then if anything bad happens to me, I can't help but like make jokes about it, even though
yeah,
like it's probably not the healthiest thing to do to deal
yeah.
with something, but then it's just something that's always been there. I was like, might as well use it and try to make a career out of it.
I mean, if you can monetize a skill that you have fully that way, I mean, that's how
Yeah.
it is, man. You got to make money.
If
पैसे
you
तो
can
लाने हैं.
monetize talking shit, then
That's the plan over here, buddy. Indian guy
yeah.
talks BS.
Why did you go with that
Monetize
name
that
though?
shit.
I'm curious.
Ooh, honestly, like if I could take you back 2 years ago when this was just something abstract, something I thought I could do, but I didn't have the balls to, didn't have the resources to.
Mm-hmm.
Over then, the name was Indian Guy Talks Football. So I was trying to get into the Twitter game, and I did relatively well as with Twitter. I ended up being followed by accounts which have 50, 60K followers. By the way, John Cena follows me for real, like the OG.
On Twitter.
I'm not even kidding. Yeah, I'm not even kidding. So I'm gonna be having like a plaque over here, somewhere over here, like John Cena ka jo follows you लिख के आता है ना. So I'm
Yeah.
gonna have that.
Frame it.
I've asked my graphic guy to make that. So yeah, but so it was Indian Guy Talks Football then, and of course it never manifested into something significant for 2 years, up
Hmm.
until possibly like a month ago, where I had some sort of an epiphany, and I was like, this is what I have to do, okay.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be subjected to football only, so BS bullshit
Yeah.
about sports, BS about sports. That's the wordplay going on over here as well.
Oh shit, I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
And
So
then
yeah.
what? So your content is primarily sports, right? Is
See,
that
that's
like
the
going to
thing.
be the
Like,
main?
not really, not really, not really. I feel like since you asked this, I would want to clear this out because your perspective of how you see it in your head is of course very, very different on so many levels as to how people perceive it. Like my
Mm-hmm.
understanding of how people perceives me as this brand that I'm building is growing so much with every day. Like, so the people only see posts or stories of like what I put, right? So
Yeah.
I see my setup every day.
Yeah.
I see the videos that I'm editing every day. So I know कि क्या लिखना. I have this fucking whiteboard going on with all kinds of shit written कि क्या क्या
Yeah.
करना. I see that. But so
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, if I could put it this way, this is sports, two hands, and this is, the pod over here, which can be
Yeah.
anything with overlapping interests that I have. It could
Yeah.
be football, it could be IT. I since I did BCA, it could be
Yeah.
crypto even. Just getting
Yeah.
somebody to speak about crypto. But yeah, so that's the thing. Like dividing it 50-50% and making my niche that way. So that's how it
Yeah,
is.
that's
Yeah.
that's I mean, you ultimately, the thing you're saying about people don't see, like, yeah, that it's your job to like put it out there, then only they're going to,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
know. And then, yeah, man, I think the best way to go about it is to have your interests, and like if you're interested in them, and then your job is to get other people interested in them, or attract people who are already interested in them. Joe Rogan talks
Yeah.
about martial arts all the time. He talks about jujitsu all the
All
time.
the
Like
time. Yeah.
jujitsu isn't a very mainstream
Talked
topic
about
to talk
topic.
about,
Yeah.
but then
Yeah.
he's
He
just so
made it
good at
that.
doing, yeah, he's just so good at
Yeah.
doing what he does, that jujitsu is
Yeah.
something that, like, I listen to him and I'm like, yeah, yeah, I watch MMA now, and then I'm like, man, he should have put him in a triangle choke. What is he doing? Like,
Yeah.
me sitting at home knowing nothing about
Yeah.
martial arts. You
So
want to talk
we're
about
gonna be
MMA?
having
Do you
the
follow?
yeah. I mean, so I've been trying to. I've actually got. So I will be doing a segment on UFC as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like the UFC. Is it what is it? Is it 256? What is it? Which one is? Which
Which
one is
one?
the? I could
Who's
be
fighting
very
who?
wrong about this. It was Dustin Poirier and Conor McGregor. The
This-
third, the third.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
yeah. So I so it's something that I really want to get into, and I feel like I've already made the dip into it, like just
Mm-hmm.
putting your feet perhaps into the swimming pool. So I've
Yeah.
done that, but yeah, I mean, I honestly really wanted Tony Ferguson to kick Khabib's ass, man, but that never happened. And the way he got
Uh,
done by Justin Gagey
Gaethje.
was sad, bro. It was sad.
Yeah, Tony's
Fucked
done,
him up,
bro.
man.
He
He's
lost
done.
like
He's
last
done.
week. He lost last week also against, but he's still a fan favorite though. So I see him coming back
Mm,
just because like people love him, and he's kind of old though. He's like 37 now. So
mm.
like he's reached his peak, but then I don't know if they could set up the right fight for him, and if he is not so stubborn and he trains with a proper camp. He
Yeah.
doesn't have a coach. He does everything himself.
Yeah.
So yeah, but then man, MMA is honestly, if I'm going to be honest with you, it's my favorite sport right now. It's kind of like taken over football in the past year, because
Yeah.
football hasn't been, the quality of
There.
football like during the pandemic has been low. Like you can't deny that, you know.
It
And
has been. It has been. Yeah.
without fans, it's like it's felt kind of weird watching games. But then that is why this is something controversial that I'm gonna say, that prospect of a super league was kind of exciting. I was like, this they're going
Mm.
to, but then at the same time, like the cons were way more than the pros.
Way more, man. They were way.
But then
See,
there
that's the
were
thing.
some
Like,
pros, like you can't
yeah,
deny that there
yeah.
were
They
some
were.
pros.
They were. I mean, the aspect of see where we live in a time where it's a TLDR world, guys. Too long
Yeah.
didn't read, and so we just want. The fucking fact that Perez, the guy who was going to be the president of the league, was discussing a possibility of cutting the 90-minute segment down, which has been like ये cricket है क्या भाई, मतलब 50-50 test,
Yeah.
मतलब 20-20 अब T10, someday we'll just have one over, super over
Yeah.
का ही हो रहा रहेगा. So do you really want that? I mean, do you want? So that's the thing. This is if I could just finish this off, this is an inherent debate in football: aesthetics
Yeah.
and order. So it's always been, so somebody who's in the middle, maybe my philosophy is just being pragmatic, perhaps absorbing both sides of the story. Where do you sit upon it? Since you've said this, I feel like you're
Hmm.
more of the aesthetic, the guy who wants entertainment more, like how Brazil was. They didn't care
Yeah.
about order. Where do you
Yeah.
come in on this?
Look, ultimately, sport is like we watch it for entertainment. Maybe
Hmm.
we more than that, like we play the game, so we have more of an attachment to it. But like
Yeah.
for a lot of people who don't play the game, right? It's merely just entertainment. It's like a TV show. It's that's
Hmm.
they have it. They have a few episodes that happen every weekend, and they watch them.
Yeah.
And yeah, but then look, man, for me, it's like I saw the whole. I was like, this is what they're proposing. I'm like, this could be a lot of fun. But then at the same time, I know that it's like I know I can see where they were coming from and what they were trying to do. But then at the same time, I don't want it to be like that. I don't want the change. I feel like what we have right now is great. Now these people in their heads, at the end of the day, like they're thinking about money. They're running these clubs as
Yeah.
businesses, and in their head they're like, we're playing this Champions League every season and it's making UEFA a lot of money, and we're not getting enough. We're not getting our piece of the pie isn't big enough. And for them it's like we are the main reason that people even watch this competition. Like
The big
the,
clubs.
the big clubs, they're like, we
Mm.
kind of run football. Like
Yeah.
all, let's talk about the Indian fan base primarily.
Let's do that.
Like
Yeah.
we all watch football because we were introduced to these big clubs at some point. Like you
European
saw,
football, yes.
yeah, you saw someone having a Man United cover when you were a child, phone cover, and you're like, oh,
Mm.
what is this? And then
Yeah.
you see people wearing jerseys. You never saw someone wearing like a Burnley jersey when you were a kid. It was always United. It was
Yeah.
always Madrid, Barca.
Chelsea.
So at a global level, I see what these guys, like what these CEOs are saying. They're like, okay, we're main source of the revenue, we're main source of the audience. We should be getting the biggest piece of the pie, and we're not
But
getting that.
you think you
Let's change
think
that.
you think Tottenham Hotspurs and Arsenal were are a main source of the revenue?
No, but they are clubs with a huge fan base
Lot
right
of
now.
fan base, yeah.
Like I've seen Indian Tottenham fans, and that's like
Mm.
you wouldn't see
That's
that
growing,
10 years
yeah.
ago.
That's growing.
Shashank is saying, did you try Valorant yet? No, I usually don't like first person shooter games. I get dizzy. I can't play first person games at all. I feel very nauseous. That was very random, but
Yeah.
so yeah, that's
So
my take on the Super
if
League. Like,
if if I could like come in about the Indian fan base and how they are about
yeah,
football. See, the perspective is very fucked up. I mean, uh, just the very fact that we have more knowledge and awareness of the European setup, and our how we feel strongly about Chelsea, dude. Like I cry when Chelsea, like when
yeah,
Mourinho had that fuck all season, I cried, dude. Like I cried. मैं गोवा में था, we lost to, I don't even remember that season had so many losses. I
yeah,
cried in a fucking corner, bro. Like the cliche meme
yeah.
where you cry in a
Under
corner.
the shower.
Exactly, dude. I mean, it was, and then the next season when Conte came in and we just took the league by storm, I
Yeah,
cried again when we defeated
yeah,
Everton. That was just beautiful, right? So I get that it's football, but just the fact that our own local clubs, like
yeah,
Mumbai City FC, is of course a franchisee which has just come in because of the ISL. But Mumbai FC, you talk about East Bengal FC, who Mohan Bagan, they have 100 years of history, dude. Tu
yeah,
samajh raha hai? And
yeah,
all of this, if I could just bring in a factoid over here, all of this stems from our country and our country's politics rejecting going to the World Cup, which happened around, I think, circa 1950s. So we
yeah,
could have, that was our golden era along with hockey, if
yeah,
you would remember this.
yeah,
That's when we were like one of the nations FIFA wanted कि इनके बिना तो नहीं होगा. And FIFA got so pissed, like so there are stories that we didn't have shoes. That's probably
Yeah.
like a fucked up. वो सबने सुना है, barefoot सब था
Yeah.
यार, ऐसा नहीं है, इतनी गरीबी नहीं थी,
Yeah.
गरीबी थी, you know.
Yeah.
And they probably ended up, favoring the Olympics more, because Olympics was always considered to
Yeah.
be. And
Yeah.
FIFA got so pissed. I mean, FIFA got so pissed that for the next 10, 20 years, up until 1986, 85, I don't know, udhar tak, they didn't just invite us, like they banned the shit out of us. So
Yeah.
imagine अगर हम लोग तभी World Cup जीत जाते, a generation of footballers inspired by our World Cup heroes instead of Kapil Dev, 1983 Indian Cricket World Cup. Maybe Virat
Yeah.
Kohli would have been a footballer, Maybe
Yeah.
Sachin would have been from Mumbai. So you get what I'm saying. So a lot of this is down to what's happened in the past. Bro, Indians are not bad at football. We're not. I mean, just look at
Yeah.
fucking you. You yourself would have been playing with so many people. You would have played with somebody who, at some point, you felt that this guy could go pro.
Yeah.
But he never did.
Yeah.
And we all have these stories. So it is what it is.
Yeah, but then now at least it's growing. I see it growing in the next few years to come.
No, it
And
definitely is growing. Yeah.
but it's just that, see, the thing with cricket also is that most of the players that are on the team, the best players that we have, they've come from
Yeah.
very bad places, bro. Like very poor and very, you know, like they've played cricket and they've carried their families out of poverty. Now,
Yeah.
for someone who's in a position like that and they play football instead, like it's going for cricket is so much more accessible here. Like
It
playing
is. It
cricket at
is.
high levels is very accessible. In India, to play football at a high level, you probably have to go out of India. You
Yeah.
have to go to a European country to
Yeah. This is.
train there if you want to make
Yeah.
it big, right? And not everyone
That's
can
what
afford
Manas did,
that.
right? Manas
Yeah.
also went to Portugal. He had a good stint over there. Even the last guest on my pod, Rahul Matthew, he's somebody who we spoke to Lens about, his achievements back here in the Mumbai circuit, and now there's no route for him, per se.
Hmm.
So coming
Yeah.
from a foreign setup and then being like, this is my CV, this is what I've done, would perhaps be the step that an individual can take.
Yeah. And I see a lot of Indian players or Indian people with Indian roots picking other nationalities over India because
There's
it just makes
Yan Dhanda, I don't know, this new guy is it at, I don't know, it's at one of these clubs. See, मेरी भी knowledge Indian football में बहुत खराब है यार, and it sucks, मैं यहाँ पे football बेचने जा रहा हूँ, Indian
Yeah.
football, और मुझे भी, so it's, but I promise, content will be crisp. I
Yeah.
promise.
How long have you been playing football for? When did you start playing football?
Oh, it goes back. I mean, but the first time I honestly tried doing anything specific about football was the 6th grade. Like my friend Kunal, he took me to coaching the legendary coach that we have over here, Cookie sir. So school mein jo coaching hoti thi, he took me to
Yeah.
coaching. I remember, you remember your first very well, right? So I remember that day. I'd worn this Nike ka cliche jersey. So yeah, so football's association has been pretty long for me, but I started becoming a serious player possibly in my 8th, in my 9th grade. That's when I realized my positional, kahan khel sakta hu and shit like that. And then of course, when 11th, 12th, and then of course symbiosis happened. That's when, and like something that people don't really know as much, like symbiosis. Of course, why would they know? Like going into symbiosis, it was my absolute goal to be captain. Like I don't deny that shit. I wanted to be captain. Like I just don't. People who used to stay with me, they know this, and so. Nairan saying something, not really. I mean, I'm doing the same in Goa, so it's a struggle, but ISL is the next way. It is, Nairan, it is the next way out. And even
there's
though
money.
the
There's
friend,
money in ISL.
exactly. So that's the thing, like this circle with I-League, it has ended. And we needed a commercial brand, somebody like IMG, somebody like Reliance, to come in and put their infrastructure. Now we're actually going to see the Indian setup explode, man. I mean, Nairan, Are you playing, Nairan? Are you trying to make it pro as well?
Yeah,
I'll be
bro. I
very,
went I went to
yeah.
Goa recently, and I wanted to meet him, but he's like, I fucked up my hamstring. I can't even walk. So I
Ooh,
didn't even
the
end
guy
up
keeps
meeting him.
fucking his hamstring, man. Even in
The
our
guy keeps
first
fucking
match,
a lot of things.
yeah. Nairan, what do you keep fucking up, brother? Do you wanna?
Yeah, man, but football
So
has always been very. I've been playing since I've been like 4 years old. Like I
yeah,
remember playing with my uncle. And in Iran, football is huge, man. Like it's the biggest.
yeah.
It's our biggest sport, and like the Tehran derby is the biggest derby
Hmm.
in Asia. Like,
Yeah,
or it's one of the biggest in the world. Like it's over 100,000 people come to the stadium
yeah.
to watch that derby. And yeah, so in Iran, football is just kids are playing on the street. It's just
Why do
always
you
there.
come here though? Why do you
Uh,
decide to?
my dad is a pharmacist, and he came to India to
Bugger
study.
would have made a lot of. Fucking I just Bugger would have made a lot of money, right? Because of COVID. Something we
Yeah,
spoke about.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So my dad sells drugs, and
exactly.
to put it in simple words, he came to India to study Indian Ayurvedic medicine or Indian ancient Indian medicine. And he came here by himself first, and then he realized it's going to take a while. So he's like, you guys also move. And then I came here, started going to school. And I came here when I was 6 years old, bro. So I could even barely speak my own language. And I didn't know English, I didn't know
Hmm.
Hindi. So then I'm going to school, I'm learning three languages at once.
At the same
And
time, yeah.
yeah, and then once my dad was done, I've been studying in an English setting for the longest time. So going back to Iran and switching back to, like, imagine going to college, you've studied in English your whole life, and then you go to college studying in a different language.
Yeah,
So that really didn't make sense. So now me and my
yeah.
brother, we are here, we're studying and doing our thing. Yeah, it was very random, bro. Like my dad just this one day he comes and he's like, yeah, I'm going to India for a while.
India चलते हैं.
Yeah. I
भारत
just
चलो भारत.
never ended up leaving. So
Yeah,
like India's home now.
yeah.
I probably could have gone far in football, bro, but I just never had the discipline and the
Hmm.
commitment to it. Like I
That's
remember,
where that's
there
where
was this,
people just
yeah, there
stop,
was this
right? Like
club,
that's where you're.
there was this club called Pune FC. It was an I League club.
Hmm.
I don't think they exist anymore, but
I think they
uh,
became Pune City FC, and then they got
I,
dissolved into Hyderabad FC.
I don't
So
know, bro. They're just changing cities.
yeah.
But yeah, there was this club called
Hmm.
Pune FC. They were in I League, like the first division. And I remember I
Hmm.
went for trials for under 15, I think. And I got selected and I'd go for training. But even then, like, I'd miss training. And then,
Hmm.
it was like a 30-man squad. They,
Yeah.
and what they would do is like they would train for months and then there'd be tournaments at the end of the year and they'd take a 16-man squad, like, and they would
Hmm.
travel like across India and play games. And even in that setting, like, for at that time I was pretty good, but then I don't know, man. Like I was talking to my dad the other day and he also mentioned it. He was like you were always really good and then you just never put in the effort, you never put in the hard
Yeah.
work to, I don't know,
Probably
but I think
actualize that shit. Yeah.
that's what separates pro players from players who are good at the game.
Exactly, man.
We all have friends who kill it in five-a-side, like they run
Hmm.
circles around people, but they'll never, like, they'll light a
Make
cigarette
it.
after
Yeah.
the game, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
They light a doobie after the game, man. That's culture. That's
yeah,
fucking culture.
this turf that we go to here in Pune, they have beers, bro. So
Ooh.
like they sell beers like under the table for like $20 extra, and then people sit and drink beers after the game.
I don't know.
It makes no sense.
I read some shit, man. I I read some shit that smoking a doobie like possibly before an high intensity
Hmm.
wala activity of course, we're speaking about football, so let's just continue
Yeah.
with football. And doing it later has a lot of benefits. And if I could, maybe a benefit which really, which is personal to me, is it you don't wake up the next day with the inflammation, right? I mean, if you've run the whole
Yeah.
game, seven aside, and then you spaga doobie, and then you don't fucking, when you wake up, your hamstrings are okay, your
Hmm.
back isn't like an 80-year
Yeah.
old. And pre
Yeah.
is another story. I mean, pre is another story. Have you done this? But then, what's been your experience over here?
I've played Stone, but then it's like I've had
It's
a really
difficult,
good
right?
time. Like it was really
Yeah,
fun because but
yeah.
I wasn't as serious. I was just fucking around. I
Exactly.
was
When
like
you're
trying to play
maybe
for
when I'm
fun.
talking about, when I speak about perhaps a serious setting where you're playing a
Yeah.
game which is serious.
No, that
So
I never do that, and
yeah,
I have friends who do that, and it pisses me off because then every mistake that they
they're not
make,
in control.
for
Yeah,
for me, it's like this is because you smoked before. Like you shouldn't have smoked
yeah,
before,
exactly. Yeah,
and then I'm
yeah.
like, this is very
Just the
irresponsible of you.
just knowing that level of information irritates you mid game. And
Yeah.
also like when you're playing uh what is it, when you're playing a game like football, you need control. You need
Yeah.
your head to be in the right space, and you need it to be very unidirectional. So that's something which footballers do. They drink a lot of coffee, a lot of espresso before games, professional footballers. So coffee
Yeah.
and perhaps the aforementioned substance that we were talking
Yeah.
about has a very contrasting relationship with your body, right? With a
Yeah.
person's body. One gives you awareness, one puts you down, perhaps. It
Yeah.
reduces you to a lower state.
Yeah. They're
So
upper
this is
and
something.
lower.
Yeah, this is something, a segue which I'd like for us to take. It's a good route that I'd like for us to take. So have you seen Midnight Gospel? I mean, this is a show on
Uh,
Netflix.
I've watched a couple of episodes. It's the one that's made by Duncan Trussell, no?
Yeah,
I
it is.
think
It
he's
is. It is.
the
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I've watched a couple of
So
episodes and yeah. What
in the
about it?
very first episode, I don't know if you've seen it. It's so every episode is his convos with the people that he gets on his pods, and he cuts it down,
Yeah.
edits that shit, and graphically makes it into a midnight
Yeah.
gospel EP. Imagine that shit, bro. Kitna kaam jata hoga usme. And there are episodes where he's just spoken about the thought process behind the show. But anyway, that's
Yeah.
something else. That's of course his secret sauce. But the episode in question, it's just about a premise, and that's the relationship that you have with a drug is
Hmm.
what makes it bad or good.
Yeah.
It's the moral aspect of doing the drug is just a superficial thought which people have,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So, just the fact that, see, you'd know about this, like your dad's a pharmacist. You even a crocine
Hmm.
popped every other time, a painkiller popped every other time. You think that doesn't fucking wreck your body or what? It does. You think
Yeah.
it doesn't
You grow a
make you an addict? Yeah,
yeah. You
a
grow a
tolerance.
yeah for it. Yeah. The thing is, yesterday I tweeted this, bro. Like I was like, uh, if like ban all social media and then legalize all drugs. I genuinely feel that would change society for
That
the
help a
better,
lot. Yeah,
bro.
it
Not
will. Yeah,
drugs, I would say psychedelics. Not like you don't want to see people doing heroin on the street. Like
yeah, yeah.
I don't think
Key
you
distinction,
can.
guys. Key distinction. Yeah, key
Yeah,
distinction.
man. There
This
are
is where.
like it's
Yeah,
like when people say drugs are not that bad, but then some drugs are. You shouldn't be doing them ideally,
exactly.
right?
Can you name
Uh,
them out of the bat?
like
Can you name them?
like crystal meth, heroin, a lot
All
of
that shit's
pills,
bad, man. Fucks you
a
up.
lot of
Yeah.
pills like sleeping pills, But then on the other hand, there are
Adderall.
psychedelics. Yeah, Adderall is so common in the West, bro. Like I have
Very
friends
common.
who pop it to study. Like they have an
I
assignment, they
know
pop it.
somebody. I know
Yeah.
somebody who is from of course our Pune folklore, Pune
Okay.
folks who he admitted to this. I see how subtly I pass the gender as well. I'm not gonna pass the name, of course, but the person seeing this, you know this. I refer to her as Adderall Annie a lot. This is anybody who's seen Community would know the reference. But then go ahead. I mean,
Yeah. So the thing with psychedelics is, I think, uh, I don't know, man. Like, no one ever does acid or LSD, and then the next day they wake up and they're like, I'm going to do it again. You
yeah.
know, I feel like it's every time you do it, it's just such a profound experience that you can't keep doing it over and over again.
Why do you say
And
that?
I don't feel like they're physically addictive. I may be wrong on this, but with other substances like, let's say, meth, I know people who have done it, and they're like, you do it once and you're addicted. It's not like you keep doing it
Mm,
till you get addicted. You just have to do it once. Even with like heroin, it's like that one hit, you're done. Like, you're
you're
gonna
done.
wake up the next day,
You're
like
in.
your body's itchy, you want it again. Like, you want to go back to that,
Mm,
right? So I feel like with psychedelics, I feel like it'll disrupt society, man. Like, people will never, if let's say people started doing acid in mass, so many people the next day they're going to wake up and be like, yo, the way our society works is not this is not how it's supposed to be. Like,
not functioning. Yeah.
capitalism isn't the way to go, right? And then people are not going to want to work. No one's gonna go and do a 9 to 5 once you are
Mm,
awakened. So yeah, that was just, I feel like someone should study this in depth and write a thesis about what will happen if a lot of people started doing
society. Yeah.
psychedelics at once. Like, how
So
will it impact
this
society?
is this is something Graham Hancock is an advocate for.
Hmm.
He's an avid. I'm sure you would have heard a few pods with him on it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Graham's somebody who's, I wouldn't say a self-proclaimed archaeologist, but then he's somebody who's been in the biz long enough to. Can you pull something up of Graham? I mean, just Google
Yeah.
that shit. So
Tell
he's
me what
he
it is.
speaks a lot about, like, his famous tagline is that we're a society with dementia. This is his
Hmm.
famous. This is what he says, and what he means by that is that we've just forgotten the rich ancient history that we have with certain. And he calls psychedelics the fruit of God. This is what he says, and he says it shouldn't be used recreationally. That's the
Yeah.
point he makes.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for recreational use at all. You do it under supervision, and that's the thing. Like, it's the fruit of gods. It's given to you when you're seeking answers, when you're seeking,
Yeah.
when you have so many. And Graham's big about this, but that's the thing. We have so many people preaching about this shit, but then never really goes anywhere.
Yeah, but then I feel like people who run the world, they don't want psychedelics to become mainstream. They don't want them to be freely available, because that will impact, like I said, it will impact society. A lot of people
It will.
are just living their lives, never, like, their minds will never even go to that place where they think, oh, you know what, if I do psychedelics, I want to understand myself better, I want to understand my
Yeah.
surroundings better, I want to see the world from a different perspective. Like, these thoughts, not a lot of people have, and then they'll go on with their lives never having these thoughts. So I don't think they
Hmm.
want it to be mainstream, bro. Even with, like, with something like marijuana, bro, it's still illegal in most parts of the world, right?
They don't want that, and especially what's happened like in the last year with all the BS with our brother Sushant Singh Rajput.
Yeah. Yeah.
the way, no, just look at the way in which his story is just a non-story. I mean, look at
Yeah.
the way, like, there is absolutely no direction. We don't know shit that happened.
Yeah.
We just know that it wasn't a murder. We just know that it wasn't a suicide. So
Yeah.
कुछ पता ही नहीं है. ऐसे ही
Yeah.
बता दिया. And
Yeah, but
and
then
suddenly that
people,
allowed them to just go into narcotics, man. Like, suddenly that I
yeah.
and I get that they probably were looking for an opening for, because the Bollywood is it's 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 fucked up, man. Like, I know people friends of friends who've you know just snorted
Yeah.
just coke in washrooms with celebs,
Yeah.
in at parties. And you remember seeing this video Karan Johar ne dala tha,
Yeah.
where ऐसे मतलब चढ़ के this is our
Yeah.
lifestyle, हम लोग ऐसे ही
Yeah.
हैं. Vicky Kaushal is all jaded, looks at the camera. So funny. उसके इधर ऐसे powder लगा है. Fucked up.
Yeah, but that's, man, like, for me, I'm like, did you guys not know this before this? Like, did you
Exactly.
not know these guys do drugs? Everyone does drugs, bro. This, if there's one thing you should know, that more people do drugs than you can imagine.
Yeah.
Right? It's
Yeah.
just, it's very common. And if you have money, you're going to do drugs like coke. If you don't have money, you're probably going to like smoke up.
Yeah.
Because right now, if I was a coke addict, let's say I was a coke addict, I couldn't afford doing coke
Hypothetically.
all the time. Yeah. I couldn't afford doing coke every day, man. It's pretty expensive, right? But then imagine you have unlimited resources, and
you've got people to just come to your, like, people who can set the vibe. They'll come to your place, they'll get you munchies, they'll get you, and they're like, you just have to sit down and just like absorb that shit. And why wouldn't?
And with like in like an industry like Bollywood, a lot of it is also just social. So like if you're trying to work with someone, like you want to get along with them, it's like, okay, I'm going to pull a couple of lines, because that's something that makes you close. Drugs and alcohol, like you go out with people that you don't know, you have a couple of drinks with them, you're suddenly best friends. It's not a very meaningful or deep connection, but it is a connection. Like your brain tricks you into believing that this person is very close to you. So that's always there, man. Like if I'm a struggling actor and then suddenly I'm sitting with Karan Johar and then he offers me a line, and then I'm like, no, I don't want it. And then I know that interaction is done. It's not going anywhere. So just to keep that interaction going,
it's not
a
that
lot
shit,
of people
man,
who consider, they're like, okay, this is what I have to do. This is part of
it is
the
what
job.
it is.
Yeah, so
The
I understand
episode's name. The episode's name is "It Is What It Is," guys. So, and a very stoic thought in principle. It is what it is. Memento mori.
It helps me through
Have
a lot
death
of
in mind.
it
Exactly.
helps me through a lot of things, man. Like my whole mentality right now is just, it is what it is. Like if I'm not in control, there's nothing I can do about it.
Yeah.
So, but then again, like it's so easy to say all this, but then when you're actually in a situation like that, you're going to be tense, you're going to be upset, you're going to be like, no matter how many times you say it is what it is, but then it's just a way of looking at things.
Yeah. We've been going on for a while though. Like I wouldn't say I anticipated a specific hour mark, but then I was looking at perhaps doing 1.6, 1.5. And the last pod, I came out of the last pod thinking कि बहुत सारी चीजें थी जो मैं बात कर सकता था. So, and since we're doing this live,
you wanna like keep it at a level where you can retain as much attention. Like even when I do mine, like some of mine are like 20 minutes long. I do those just so that I've put something out, and then
people have attention.
It's quick. It's quick. Like it's 20 minutes of your day. I'm assuming a lot of people listen to this like on 2x speed, and like it's 10 minutes of your day. So I'm like, chal, if I'm giving them 20 minutes, I'll give them 20 solid minutes.
Yeah,
it's like that.
So that's the thing. Like I wasn't. So a lot of the shit that I'm doing right now is just working on ad hoc basis. I'm just this stream. I hit you up and I was like, I mean, let's just do a stream. Let's just go live.
Yeah.
It was never planned. We were thinking about recording something, and then, but that's the thing. Like we wanted something authentic, something out of the bat, something natural in that sense. And also, if a point that I can make is, look, I've got like 9 people watching this right now. So what's there to lose? It's just me shooting darts in the dark, trying to figure out kya lag raha hai, kya nahi lag raha hai, and then I take it from there. So
9 is a very good number, bro. It's like 9 people you have 9 people's attention right now.
जो भी देख रहा है.
Yeah, pretty good,
all
man.
the
Like,
buds, man. Yeah,
yeah,
they
those are
probably
your
just. It could be. It
first.
could be. Yeah.
Huh, okay, you
Is there
wanna
a way for
cover?
me to find out?
No, you
Is there
can't.
a way? Is it
I
actually?
think you
Yeah.
can. Uh, oh yeah,
No,
you can. No, you can check
screw that
that.
shit, screw that.
Do you want to cover the Champions League and then end it?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that.
We can make.
Maybe we could have a few Namit. Well, I don't know Namit. You also tuned in. Oh, Namit is such a ladies' man, bro. Na Namit, yaar. I can see his face. I can visualize him like blushing, like red, fucking red right now. Like, Amay bhai kya bol raha hai? Amay bhai kya matlab hai? This one time I got into Namit's skin so much that he actually needed water. Like, we were at Manas's place, Tijan's place, and Namit said something. Namit knows this story. And then Namit just wanted water. Like, Tijan bhai, pani leke aao, ye karo, wo karo. So, Namit, thank you for. I'm glad you enjoyed this,
Namita and I had
buddy.
a very intimate moment in college once. Someone we were playing truth or dare, and someone dared him to kiss me on the neck. And
Namit.
this guy
He's that guy though.
went
Like,
for it, bro. He went for it. I
yeah,
didn't expect him.
he's that guy. He's that guy. You know, Namit. What a
He's
guy.
left his mark on me.
So, coming to the to UEFA Champions League. Let me see if I can pull
Yeah.
something up. Before that, what are you feeling like as a Chelsea fan? How are you feeling about this? Honestly, there's no hype, right? Legit, but I mean, दो तीन दिन में there is no hype. कुछ
Yeah,
hype नहीं
because
है.
we're the underdogs, huh? If we were the favorites, then like I'm assuming City fans are going into this thinking, okay,
Thinking
we've
they're gonna
won.
win.
No, we've won
Yeah, we
this
won.
match. Like it's
We
done.
won. Yeah.
They're ready to celebrate.
But that's the thing,
And
right? Chelsea fans, they all love being underdogs, man. We know what happened the last time we were underdogs.
yeah,
So
yeah,
you
but
never
then
know.
I don't want to compare it to that, bro. The personalities and the
That was a
characters
different,
we
yeah.
had in the dressing room at the time, we don't have those.
Mm,
Our most experienced player, Thiago Silva, is a
mm,
Champions League
yeah.
loser. So
Yeah. Even Tuchel for that matter.
even Tuchel, yeah. But then it's 90 minutes, bro. That's the thing. Anyone can beat anyone. We've beaten them twice already this season. They could have a bad game. We could have the game of our lives.
Mm,
Like tactically, I'm sure Tuchel will do the best he can. So if we do lose the game, it's going to be solely on quality. And then you can't complain when you
mm,
get beaten by a team that is so much more superior to yours. I'm saying all
yeah.
this so that like when we win, I get to
Yeah, we get to post these snippets.
I'm playing it. I'm playing it down. It's like when you're with a girl and then you keep talking about how small your dick is. You set your
Yeah,
expectations
and
low,
then suddenly it's like,
and then like even
yeah,
if it's like a little over 3 inches, then they're like, okay, I expected much less.
much less. Reverse psychology, guys. You've heard it
Yeah.
not first, but of course,
Yeah,
Amin's here with it.
that's the dumbest thing to do, bro. Like bragging about your penis, like
Yeah,
you're just setting expectations high. Like it's don't ever do it. Don't it no.
don't
Like
be
I'm
that
telling
guy.
you, don't be that guy. Okay.
Especially like when you're not packing, man. Why would you be that guy when you're not packing? Just why?
Yeah,
It's lack of foresight on a very shrewd level. It's just sad. But
yeah. It's like
yeah,
your
it's weird.
don't do that. Huh. So I don't know, man. I feel I'm pretty sure the game is going to be enjoyable. Or I just don't want to see mistakes. I don't want to see Jorginho like passing it
Oh,
back and then like that's going to hurt like if you lose because of mistakes like that. And I don't want it to be
he's
a
actually been yeah,
battering, bro.
he's been
Like if
shit since the Madrid game, dude. He's been shit
yeah,
since the Madrid game. I mean, the second game, and
I
that's the
won't
thing.
be
That's the
surprised if he's dropped, bro.
yeah. Me
I
neither
think
actually because Kova Kante, this
yeah,
combination, the way Kante has been rested, and Tuchel is of course a pragmatist in the truest sense. Pep
yeah,
is somebody who pretends to be a pragmatist from time to time. That's led him to a lot of like Leon last year. The way he got Leon just blew him apart. He
Yeah.
overthinks a lot. And a very famous quote, like the only person who can beat Pep is
Is
Pep.
Pep.
So yeah, so that's perhaps my premise going into this.
Yeah.
And just the very fact that Tuchel and Pep go way back, like the first time they
Yeah.
met was in 2015 with Dortmund, and they've they've
And
they've they- they've been friends on a level where they used to meet for brunches, for lunches, बैठ के बात वात करना, just going around with
yeah.
their philosophies. So yeah, I mean, they have the मतलब एक दूसरे का नंबर है यार व्हाट्सएप पे रात रात को मैसेज करते होंगे भाई तू फॉल्स नाइन खिलाता है तो मैं कैसे करूँ क्या करूँ so you know how it is
Well,
so the see I mean the only thing which I can perhaps predict is that we're not going to get battered. The way our defense has shaped
hmm,
up, I know for a fact that our team will set up very strategically
yeah.
strong, at least defensive wise, and goals is what wins you games. And see, we've reached this point. We need luck. We haven't had luck in the past, month. I feel
Yeah.
like. So I mean, only up until the last game when Spurs, out of all teams, like
Yeah.
Tottenham, so did us a did us a favor. So you need luck to win the Champions League, man. And we had a
Yeah.
lot of luck in 2012. So,
Okay, Chal, give me your lineup, your preferred lineup.
oh, I don't want to do this up until the very day. But then I don't know. I'm thinking, of course, the back line
Kep
as is, the five people.
Kepa in goal,
Oh,
obviously.
fuck Kepa, bro. Fuck Kepa. I'd keep instead of Kepa right now. Not Kepa. Mendy needs injections to his rib. If it's steroids from fucking Turkey, you get him that. You put it
Yeah.
into his rib directly. The source of pain, you give him all kinds of tranquilizers, painkillers, जो देना है दो. Cocaine दिला दो भाई. कैसे तो
Yeah.
bypass करा के वैसे भी Russia is known to do this. You know about this, right? Russia
Yeah.
screwed up
I
the whole
watched
Olympics.
I watched
Yeah, the
Achilles, bro.
movie, yeah, the documentary, yeah. But anyway, so I feel like Mendy has to play if we are going to get anything out of this game, or else KDB पहले ही मिनट में
Hmm.
लॉन्ग शॉट आ रहा है. I mean, तभी हम लोग हार
Hmm.
जाएंगे. So Mendy, Christensen, I feel like has a shout out, but I don't think if he'll play, maybe he can. Reece James is someone who I want for us to play, but then again, with Champions League, you have the option of making 5 strategic steps.
Yeah.
So Niren just asked me this, will restart. I think he will,
I
because
think
he
he'll
offers
start in the back
something.
three again. I feel like
Yeah,
he'll start.
exactly. Yeah, he's
Uh,
become very comfortable in the back three, and see, when you're playing against a 3-3 at the back setup, and the only way to perhaps beat that is match it or be very good at your game. So
yeah.
if Pep really turns up well with his false nine BS, it's a different story. But he matched it in the past 2 games. Okay, he matched it. So if he does
Yeah.
that, then we're looking at a man-to-man setup versus. I'm going very deep into football, guys. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, but then if we go into a man-to-man setup where Reese has space, so we put him there, and he's
Yeah.
very good on the ball.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
So
mean
yeah.
that's the back four. Aspi as the right wing back, though.
Aspi as right wing back, then Christensen, Thiago, and Reese are your back three.
No. How can we forget the hustle man, bro? See, that's the thing. Like Christensen might not play, and Christensen might not play. Maybe Reese might not play. But I feel like I don't know, man. At this point, Tuchel is seeing them practice every day. I'm not. The only thing that
Hmm.
I've seen is Christensen not play for a while, and is ever since his hamstring went against City. So it's a difficult prospect to bring him directly back against a tough intensity game.
So you think Zuma
But
will play then?
no, Zuma is another player that needs to be chucked out very quickly. It's just sad the way it's happened with him. We imagined him to be the second coming of Ricardo Cavallo, I guess. But then I don't know. Like I feel like Rudiger, Silva, and Reese have to play,
Hmm.
and then of
Yeah.
course the way we line up is the way we line up. Werner Age with. I think we need a striker in this, like a proper striker. So I'd like for us to go with Havertz.
So Tammy will start
And
then.
I mean, though, yeah, he's been frozen out since.
Imagine if he's in the lineup, bro. I will lose my shit.
I
That'll
feel
be
like
a,
I feel like a storyline is there that Tammy comes on for the last 15 10 like Origi and wins us the
yeah,
Champions League. Like that storyline
yeah.
is there in my head. So
Or
that
like
can happen.
Torres when he came on.
Yeah, yeah.
He
Warner
won
could
that
score a
corner,
hat trick.
no?
Look at this.
Torres won that
No,
corner, no?
Warner's very yeah,
From
Torres,
which
yeah, yeah. From which Mata
he's making a
crossed
comeback.
him.
He's coming out of retirement.
I just read that. That's
Yeah.
great. People, for the ones watching this, I used to be a huge Torres stan. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
of course, you don't know this either. I should rep him bad, man. Like if you go back to my Facebook timeline, all you will see is FT9 edits,
Same,
Fernando,
bro.
Joe,
I
Sanz. Yeah,
I had a crush on him. Like I was romantically obsessed
me
with
too,
that
man. Like
guy.
a man crush. You know.
He gave me a lot of dilemma, bro, in my years of
Hmm.
puberty. He made me really doubt myself.
Zac Efron's that guy for me. Used to be. Yeah. So,
Oh yeah.
since we're coming clear and all, yeah. But
Okay, so then Mount Werner and what Pulisic?
Mount Werner and for me, Havertz has to play.
Yeah, even I want him to play, man. We're just
Yeah.
better with him, I feel.
Werner sucks as the only forward up front, but that's
Yeah.
just the nature of it. And Timo Werner is going to be bagging a lot of goals in the coming seasons. I can bet on that shit. Not just me. People have seen enough to say that it's his confidence which has been holding him
Yeah,
back.
bro.
What do you feel
He's
about him
gonna
though? Like, what do you feel about?
he,
Yeah.
I'm thinking all of these goals that he scores are disallowed. They're eventually going to be not disallowed. And
Exactly. Yeah.
he's gonna learn how to hold his run for that
Hmm.
extra fraction of a second, and he's gonna stop being offside.
Hmm.
And he's 25.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
How? Yeah,
still at a
he
very
hasn't
ripe age to come into his
he hasn't
prime.
even
Yeah.
reached his peak. So,
Yeah.
and one more thing, what do you think about this Hazard comeback rumors, bro? Do you want him?
Who doesn't want Hazard back, bro? But
My heart
that's the
says
thing.
yes,
Like,
my brain says no.
yeah, brain says no. Exactly. Exactly. At 40 million, no, dude. Because we could be getting somebody else at 40 million.
The
But that's the
money
thing.
is
Like,
never
I'd love for him.
something
I'd love for
I
him to
think
come
about.
back on a loan at this point. A loan would be lovely.
Hmm.
Just come back for a loan, play whenever the medical team feels like you're 100%, and maybe
Yeah.
we can get something out of him. So yeah, let's just end this with some last thoughts from your end. How did you? This was the first time you featured on the BKS Bhavnao Ko Samjho pod, and I'm glad you did this. I'm glad you were so welcoming when I hit you up. So what are your feelings?
Imagine
What
if
are
I
you
was an
feeling?
asshole and I just left you on red.
Yeah. I mean, I thought about it. I thought it was a possibility.
No, bro.
Shit like this happens.
With content, the thing is, a lot of people. Uh, if someone texts me for anything, there is a high chance that I will. If it's something that I don't care about, like there is a high chance that I will just not respond. But then when it comes to content
Hmm.
and like someone's trying to
Yeah.
do something, it's I'm like I always because I know what it's like.
The
So
hustle.
and it's good to make connections and it's good to so yeah, I'm
Yeah.
always going to be doing stuff like this, and and this is what I enjoy doing the most. So
Hmm.
yeah, like
Even
everyone
though
loves
you
talking, bro. Everyone enjoys talking.
exactly,
Everyone just
exactly,
wants to be
exactly. Who doesn't? Who doesn't? Yeah.
like
That's
I
partly
know
the
I'm a
reason why I'm doing this as well.
yeah, bro.
Just to
Deep
talk.
down, I know I'm an attention whore. Like I know I'm very self-aware that way.
Yeah.
So at this point,
Mutual,
like
mutual, mutual
I'm
feelings.
I don't even want to hide it and be like, oh, I just do
Yeah.
this. No, I do it because I enjoy the attention. And if other people
Hmm.
are enjoying it, enjoy. And
Why
if
not?
other people are enjoying my craving for
BS.
attention, then why not? Why the
I'm
fuck
I'm
not?
gonna I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna put an open question to the ones who are watching this, the ones who will watch this. I don't know if you'll get up to this very point because it's legit the butt of the
Yeah.
the video. But if you do, I want you guys to tell me: would you like Amin Jazz to feature back, to be a regular feature even? Would you want that shit? Did you enjoy this shit? Honestly, I need
Man,
comments on this. Feedback is appreciated as well.
imagine if they suddenly they start spamming no. Guys, whoever's here, before you leave, like the video because that helps with
Hmm.
reach a lot, especially with like new channels. So if you haven't liked it yet, just hit like.
Don't be a bitch, man. Fucking
Yeah,
like that shit. Once वो पिछले 1.5 घंटे से बैठे हो, like नहीं करोगे तो कैसे चलता है? Like
yeah,
करो यार.
yeah.
So yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. This has been swell, man. This has been swell.
Yeah, I had a
Been
really
pretty
good
good.
time.
Yeah.
Only if he plays on stand up. Playing music तो pro copyright का बहुत issue होएगा. Like I don't mind playing a or recording a set and playing it live, but then anything you play just gets fucked. And stand up, the thing is, मेरा मुश्किल से bro 6 minute का material है. If I put it up, then everyone. But yeah, stand up is something I'm trying to get better at, and as soon as I
It,
get
it
better
feels
at it,
like
and
it feels like that's something you really want to do as well. So I'd love for you to like
yeah,
make waves over there.
it's just something. It's like anything else, bro. You just have to keep doing it. You have to keep eating shit, going on stage, bombing again. Then one of your joke works. You work on that joke, make it better, until eventually, like you start getting
Yeah.
good at it. And then I'll want to put content. Even when I do open mics, I don't call any of my friends, bro. I'm just like, I don't want them to see this. I want them to see me when I'm good.
Yeah. And you want
Yeah.
them to see you organically, right? You want them to hear about you via somebody else, instead of
Oh,
you spamming their messages and being
no,
like,
man. Like
listen.
that way, I have supportive friends, and with stand up, it's not something everyone does. So, like, even if you decided to do
Hmm.
stand up one day and you ask your friends, all of them are
Yeah.
going to be very excited
Go
about it, and they're
yeah.
going to come because, bro, like, if seeing someone do jokes on stage is not something you see often, right? With
It's big,
musical
big
gigs and
energy.
all, like the thing is, a lot of people do it. So, like, even I have a lot of friends who are singers, and like when they're performing and they send me their thing, it's like, okay, it's just singing. Like you're very good
Yeah.
and I appreciate you, but then I'm not coming for every gig.
Yeah. There's
So
no magic happening, right? There's no, like an
no,
element of randomness.
I'll come and support you, but then if you're doing 2 gigs every week, you can't expect me to show up for all of them. But with stand up, you
Yeah.
never know what you're going to get. You like
Hmm.
it's so
Just the air of randomness which makes it
yeah, yeah.
the magic.
Yeah, okay, let's not stretch this. Thanks to
Yeah.
everyone who showed up. We're gonna do more of these. And yeah,
Hopefully, yes.
I will.
This was nice. Thank you guys for joining in. This is beautiful actually. Loved
Yeah,
this, loved every part of this. We ranted about a lot of shit. I feel like I have a lot of content for IGTV snippets. So maybe
yeah,
that'll start rolling out in the coming week, I guess. So yeah, guys, check out Amin's pod as well. He's got great content over there. It's called Untriggered, and this is where, of course, he tries to trigger people, but then in the idea of not triggering them at the same time. A lot of BS over there as well. And Amin
yeah,
makes these vlogs as well. It's been a while, and he says that he does not want to make vlogs about his daily life BS. I respect that. So but
yeah,
check all that shit out, and let me know if you guys want like Amin back on the pod sometime soon. I have a good feeling about this though.
yeah.
So
Hit me up whenever, bro. We'll do this. I had a really
yeah,
good time. My mouth is fucking dry. Spoke so much.
crazy. So yeah, guys, thank you
Chal-
for joining in. Peace. See you, Amin. See you,
Chalo.
brother.
See you, bro.
See you.
Mm.